When a child develops into a teenage tearaway, we hope that there is a golden moment where they meet the right correcting influence at the right time and a change for the better ensues. But these occasions are all too rare. Much more often the tearaway will progress to petty crime, and many of those young kids will plateau there, while others escalate much further. In this episode we will look at one such tearaway that, despite the correcting influences being there, evidently the time was never right, as the young man would go on to raise a fatal and damaging kind of havoc in 2015, in a lengthy spree that would take weeks to curtail. We're heading to Kenosha County in Wisconsin for a road trip with a difference, as we look at the case of Andrew Obregon. This is Murderous Crows. Kenosha County is located in the southeast corner of the US state of Wisconsin. The population of the county was a shade over 169,000 as of the 2020 census. Kenosha County is situated on the southwestern shore of Lake Michigan. It is part of the Chicago metropolitan area, and the county has a direct rail link to Chicago via Metra's Union Pacific North Line. Originally, the Potawatomi inhabited the area that would become Kenosha County for centuries, prior to the acquisition of the area in 1833, the Potawatomi being a Native American people of the Great Upper Plains, Upper Mississippi River, and Western Great Lakes region. The city of Kenosha itself was founded in 1835, and Kenosha County was formed from Racine County on January the 30th, 1850. Its only city is Kenosha, but the county sits between the major cities of Milwaukee and Chicago. But this county found international notoriety in 2015, when it was at the centre of a murder and subsequent manhunt that brought uncertainty and chaos to the residents of the county, all because of the actions of one man. This man was Andrew Obregon, and one of those tasked with locating the man was someone who had known him since he was a young man, that being Kenosha County Sheriff David Beth. And despite the lawman trying to be a stabilising presence during the wayward lad's school days, it would not seem to have been enough to keep Obregon on the straight and narrow. Sheriff Beth had contact with Obregon since he was a teenager, even saying that there was a time when, as the DARE instructor, he would pick up Obregon at his home to ensure that he would get to school on time. Indeed, he had been familiar with Obregon and his family for many years. Obregon is a Kenosha County native, and through growing up in the largely rural setting, he grew very familiar with the trails, fields, and lanes of its landscapes. As he grew, he developed a reputation as a low-level criminal and drug addict as he moved into adulthood. But things seemed to move to a whole new level in September of 2015. It was on the 19th of September 2015 that 37-year-old Tywone Anderson was reported missing, and his body was subsequently found in a cornfield off Highway A in Kenosha County on September the 26th. And the sheriff said that the initial report said that he went to the Obregon farm and said that Tywone was supposed to be meeting Andy. And that's how we linked Andy and Tywone to begin with. Now, Andy, as you will have guessed, is the aforementioned Andrew Obregon. But he must have realised the police were searching for him as he went to ground, and used a range of methods to evade the police, including using lanes and fields for travel, most likely using disguises, and fleeing from police any time they happened upon him, and using his local knowledge to make sure he was successful. And the longer he was keeping a low profile, the less access to drugs, especially the crack that he was addicted to, he could get, making him increasingly desperate and much more of a threat and a risk as time went on. Sheriff Beth said that his staff were exhausted and had little to no sleep for many days. But even with that said, Sheriff Beth said they were still placing additional personnel out on the roads and following up on all information that came in to the department. Such was their desire to get him into custody. The sheriff went on to say that Andrew Obregon was addicted to crack and had indicated that he wanted to go out in a blaze of glory, and an early indication of this mindset was when he led police on a dangerous high-speed car chase after one particular sighting of him in early October. Since going to ground after the discovery of Tywone Anderson's body, Obregon allegedly committed multiple crimes in the Kenosha County area, with officials saying that he'd stolen cars as well as burglarized and robbed businesses. And then on Tuesday, October the 6th, he eluded officers once again. Officials believed it was Obregon that was seen on that particular Tuesday night in a vehicle that reached speeds of more than 100 miles per hour. Sheriff Beth said the pursuit began near Highway 11 in Racine after the Racine County Sheriff's Office took a call regarding a suspicious vehicle in an industrial lot in the area. Responding deputies spotted Obregon getting into a vehicle that he may have been working on, that being a Dodge Ram pickup truck. The chase ended up in Kenosha, with the vehicle going into a farm field near Highway 75 and 18th Street. Sheriff Beth said deputies lost sight of Obregon when Obregon turned down a dirt road that he has driven hundreds of times before, and then turned his lights off, disappearing behind buildings to lose the police pursuers, and eventually exiting onto a road and heading out of the area. Andrew Obregon was not one for taking the easy way. Sheriff David Beth updated the media on the manhunt, with him saying about Andrew Obregon, "He has no regard for life. We knew that before. He likes the fact that he's getting into these chases. He's able to go into these fields in stolen cars in most cases and get away from these officers and hide. He knows these farm fields and back roads really, really well. The difficulty in capturing Andrew Obregon is the cornfields, since they are over the tops of cars. Also, he will drive down gravel and dirt roads that are not muddy with no recent rain, and along tractor trails that are solid. He always goes and returns to farms and properties that he knows, and he's turning down these roads. We use extreme caution. For one deputy sheriff or one officer to turn down these roads all by himself, we would wait. We would stand by, wait, circle the area and try to locate him. I think he is using what money he has to go buy his crack, and then stealing cars to keep his habit going. I have a hard time believing that anyone would be sheltering him."
Curious, and rightly so, been curious about what's going on with our search for Andrew Obregon. And after I go through a little bit of this, I'll kind of talk about how this is affecting even my family, because Andrew Obregon and his family live in the same town that we live in, and how it affects the schools and the kids and all that. But I wanted to start off with a little timeline. Tawana Anderson was last seen in Kenosha. On September 21st, Tawana Anderson was reported missing by the family, the Kenosha Police Department. On September 21st, there was threats at Andrew Obregon's family's house on JB in Kenosha County, with 3 people coming out there with guns. And actually at one point, I do believe in miracles. This as serious as it was, if it would have happened about 15 minutes later, it would have occurred traveling through the village of Union Grove during the homecoming parade that was on Highway 45. Should we let our kids go out and play? What's going on? I wish I had a really good answer. I don't believe that Andrew Obregon would hurt anyone at the schools, would hurt the kids or families in their neighborhoods. The only person that of recent history that he's physically hurt is someone he was connected to.
As local tensions escalated, with Obregon still at large, local institutions and businesses were being affected, not to mention, of course, the residents themselves. Students at Brighton Elementary School, which is the school that Obregon himself attended as a child, were not able to go outside for recess or gym for several days. And this was part of the semi-lockdown the school implemented as a result of the county-wide search for Obregon.
And there is still no sign of Andrew Obregon. He is wanted for murder in western Kenosha County. People there are taking precautions. Michelle Fiore live in Bristol tonight with the latest. Michelle?
Hi, Steve. Well, they are taking precautions, but they're still going about their daily lives. Some schools that were under a soft lockdown earlier this week have now lifted that. Bristol school parents have been calling administrators. They want to know what's being done to keep kids safe.
Well, we ask the teachers to keep an eye out. If there's any unusual vans or people in the area, let us know. Then we'll take precautions and we'll contact authorities if we need to.
Bristol was under a soft lockdown earlier this week because of the manhunt. Andrew Obregon grew up in this area and is now wanted for the murder of Taiwan Anderson and for robbing 2 gas stations. Bristol's lockdown has been lifted for now. Obregon's been mostly seen in Brighton, about 7 miles away, but people here are still on edge.
Well, I don't know, because he's been traveling around. He's been in Bristol. He's robbed a couple gas stations in the community, so I think people are kind of fearful that he's going to come back.
Meantime, Brighton and Paris schools do remain on a soft lockdown.
We haven't been going outside for recess or gym or any other classes, which is sad because the weather's been so nice.
In addition, Brighton's pickup and drop-off procedures have been altered. Parents must come into the building at pickup, and buses are being loaded one at a time. And during the school day, staff has a close eye out for anything suspicious.
I've been doing a lot more rounds and looking out windows and spooked by a few birds, but luckily it was just birds. Any movement catches our eye, but they hopefully understand that we'll do everything within our capability to keep their children safe.
Sheriff David Beth has said that he does not believe Andrew Obregon is a threat to schools, but he knows that parents are feeling uneasy about the situation, so he has asked schools to be extra vigilant these days. Reporting live in Bristol, Michelle Fiore, today's TMJ4.
Michelle, thanks.
The school principal voiced her concerns when she said, "We don't know what he's thinking. And as time goes on, of course we think he'll get more desperate. But what does that mean? We don't know." But the principal went on to say that throughout this time, communication was key, especially with law enforcement officials, parents, and students. After all, it is a relatively small community where everyone knows each other. And this reassured the principal, who's quoted as saying, "Sheriff Beth has always been available. Every phone call I've put through to him, he has answered." Parents were pleased with how school officials had handled things. But the search for Obregon was also having an impact on local businesses. at the EC Cafe on South Beaumont Avenue in Kansasville. Cantina night, a regular Thursday tradition, was almost deserted on Thursday, October the 8th, with a spokesperson for the restaurant saying, "This is not a normal night at all. I mean, my tables are empty. People are saying they're locking their doors by 7 p.m. They're staying inside." At a bar called Gambler's Tavern, there were similar sentiments, with one worker saying, "I'm having panic attacks. It's serious. Everything is locked up. It never was before. I never locked my doors. It's frustrating, very frustrating. You can't live a normal life." Sheriff Beth again reiterated that his staff were exhausted and that they had little rest while Obregon was still at large. But they were following up on any and all information that they received and trying to commit as many people as possible to the search for Andrew Obregon. Now, one method that the police used in trying to flush Obregon out was in arresting his mother for assisting an offender, hoping that her being locked up may force him to come out of the darkness and come forward. He didn't, but he was becoming more desperate, and the unstinting vigilance of the police paid off when a 911 call came in from a shaken homeowner whose car was taken after a violent attack.
October 13, 2015.
Kenosha 911, what's going on?
Andrew Obregon, he just punched me in my house. I'm Route 75.
Is he still there?
He just ran out the door.
Hey, so he punched you in the face? Do you need, do you need rescue? Do you need rescue?
Yes.
Okay, hang on.
I need the police.
You take a deep breath, okay? With you yelling in the phone, it's hard to hear you, okay? Do you want rescue, yes or no?
I want the police.
Okay. I have the address. I need you to listen to my questions, though, okay?
Yeah.
That was a no that you don't want rescue, correct?
Right.
Okay, we are sending deputies. I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions. Do you know what direction he went?
I don't know. I can't get the garage door open.
Okay.
He took off with my car.
Okay, what kind of vehicle was it?
Chevy Silver Spark 628 WER.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Okay, so it was silver Chevy Spark. What license plate?
628 WER. 628 WER.
And you don't know what direction?
No, because he closed the garage door.
Okay. How do you know him?
I don't know him. I know him by the papers. He is in my house.
Knows him by the papers. So he's still in your house, or is he gone?
He's gone in my car.
Okay, take a deep breath, okay? We are getting deputies on the way, but I need you to calm down, okay?
Help me.
I understand we have deputies on the way, okay?
Okay.
Just stay on the line with me, okay? When did he get there? How long ago was he there?
I don't know.
Okay, can you stop yelling at me, okay? I need you to take a deep breath. I understand that you're scared. I understand that you're concerned. But I need you to stop yelling in the phone, okay?
Okay.
Just try to take a deep breath, okay?
Okay.
We do have several deputies on the way. Can you see out any window, or do you know
He's
anybody?
gone. I just opened the garage door.
Okay, he is gone, okay. And you don't know what direction he went, though?
No.
Okay. How did he get into your Chevy Spark? Did he take the keys from you, or?
He grabbed the keys. They fell out of my pocket when he punched me.
Okay. But you've never met him before?
No.
Okay. Stay on the line with me. Like I said, we have several deputies on the way.
You probably lost him already.
I just want to make sure you don't want any rescue, just the deputies, right?
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you're not hurt, that you're okay. Are all your doors locked now?
Well, I thought they were. He said he got in through the garage.
Okay, can you make sure everything is closed up so he doesn't try to come back and hurt you?
Well, he's got my garage door opener.
Yes, stole the car. Silver Chevy Spark 628WER. Wisconsin 628WER. Okay, do you have everything locked though?
Everything's locked, but he's got the garage door, and he says he got in through the garage.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get that all worked out, but I just want to keep you on line though, okay? You're doing a good job. Like I said, just try to stay calm. I don't want you yelling at the officers when they get there, okay? And you're sure of that license plate, correct? 628W.
628WER. W is in one,
Okay,
E is in Aaron, R is in return.
Okay, perfect.
Besides.
Are there any fields around you that he may have gone to or anything like that?
Not off my property. It's got soybeans.
Okay. So we do have several deputies that are also checking the area, everything like that. So I just want to keep you in line in case he tries to come back, anything like that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yo. Did he have any other weapons on him, anything like that?
He punched me.
Just punched her. No other weapons, though, correct?
No.
Okay. Could you give me a description of what he looked like, or what he was wearing, top to bottom, what kind of shirt?
He was wearing a shirt of light color. I don't know, maybe flannel. I don't know.
A flannel. What color do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know what kind of pants was it?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, they're all checking around the area first, just so you know. Hopefully we can find them.
I think he's got my cell phone too.
Okay.
Yeah, I also had my purse in there with $500 in cash, my checking book.
Okay. Where was your phone? Was it in your pocket or was it in your vehicle?
I dialed 911 when he started throwing me around when he had his back turned, threw me down the basement steps.
Okay, you're doing a good job. Like I said, this was very helpful for us.
While adrenaline may have helped this woman give a good and solid account of what had happened, the injuries she suffered were actually quite severe, indicating how desperate and remorseless Obregon was in his actions at this time. After stealing the woman's car, which happened on October the 13th, 2015, he then fled to Lake County, Illinois, where the vehicle was tracked and finally disabled by its OnStar system. Obregon tried to flee on foot after being but was apprehended after he sustained wounds to his right arm from a police gunshot and a police canine bite. With him now in custody, local tensions were eased, as police began the process of trying to work out exactly what Obregon had done during his time as a fugitive, along with what crimes he had committed in the lead-up to the manhunt for him, and then also what he was willing to admit to. He was interviewed several times, with the police using his mother's jail stay as leverage to convince him to talk.
You remember me? Yeah, how's it going? Good, how are you? Good. This is John Hasselbrink. I was in here the other day. How you doing? So, feeling better? Feeling worse? Feeling like crap today. Yeah. Like, man, the pain or what? With everything. That, pain, anxiety, everything. I'm sure. How's the arm? Can't even move it. No, it looks pretty swollen. Yeah, that's all I can. That's all you can do? Yeah, I've been by my fingers or nothing. I can't even. Empty. All right. Well, I'm glad to see you again. to talk to you some more because a lot of stuff that you told me and Detective Santelli from the other night panned out. I mean, you've been really cooperative and telling us a lot of good stuff, and the stuff that you told us is true. A lot of the stuff you told us is true. Mm-hmm. So we talked to the DA yesterday. I think it was yesterday. One of the ADAs about trying to work on getting your mom out. That's what we're hoping to do because now that you're in custody, your mom is no longer able to do anything, I guess, that would help you remain a fugitive. So her being in jail right now doesn't help anybody.
We don't feel it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily our call, but we don't feel it's necessary.
So we're working on trying to get her out because I know that it's been a rough go for her being in jail, just talking to other family members like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to sit in jail any longer than she has to. So, hopefully that eases your mind a little bit, that we're working, trying to do stuff. I know it's going to be a rough go of it in here, especially, coming off drugs and dealing with the anxiety of everything going on and just with court and everything going on. I know there's a lot to it.
At least if your mom's out of custody, she can come see you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing we're gonna try and help you with.
So, like I said, we want to clarify a couple things. I know it was kind of a late night the other night, so it was kind of fuzzy and cloudy on a couple things, but a couple things we want to clarify. Especially with that gun, because we're trying to find it, but we can't, and we're concerned about it being out there. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about. But what I need to do, because you're in custody right now, is that form that you did the other night, the waiver of your rights. I need to read you your rights again, and then sign that form again to waive your rights so I can ask you some questions. Now, that doesn't mean you have to answer everything I ask of you, but at least then I can talk to you. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you okay with me reading?
Well, a couple of my attorneys said not to talk to you guys unless they're present with me.
Okay. Well, I know attorneys always advise their clients. That's always their stance. But it's your individual choice about whether or not you want to talk to us.
On November the 4th, 2015, the state filed a 32-count criminal complaint in the Kenosha County Circuit Court, charging Obregon with, amongst other crimes, first-degree intentional homicide for the shooting death of Taiwan Anderson. And Obregon and his legal representatives would later claim that the interviews that were conducted with him by the police should be suppressed, as he was interviewed while under the influence of drugs, and also that he had sort of asked for an attorney. So Obregon filed a motion to suppress, asserting that the statements he made during the interviews on October the 13th, 15th and 16th were involuntary. The waivers he signed after being given Miranda warnings on all 3 dates were invalid, and his statements on October the 15th were obtained in violation of his 5th and 6th Amendment rights to counsel. A lot of legal jargon there, but he was basically saying you can't use any of it because I wasn't properly under caution and I was denied an attorney. But the circuit court held an evidentiary hearing on this motion, at which Kenosha County Sheriff's Department Detective Jeffrey Bliss testified, because he was present for all 3 of the interviews. The court also reviewed the video of each interview, and the court concluded that Obregon's statements were made voluntarily. That Obregon had knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waived his rights following Miranda warnings during each interview. And the questioning that occurred on October the 15th had not violated Obregon's right to counsel. The judge therefore dismissed these claims, meaning that all of the interviews remained admissible as evidence in any legal proceeding. Ultimately, Obregon entered into a plea agreement with the state and pled guilty to 6 offences, including first-degree intentional homicide and attempted first-degree intentional homicide. The remaining counts were dismissed and read in. Obregon was sentenced to life imprisonment, with life meaning life. Judge Chad Kirkman was scathing in his sentencing remarks, with him saying, "It's your fault you are in this situation. You show little remorse. You killed somebody purely out of retaliation, and you made our community feel very unsafe for a long period of time." And then, just to display his cockwombleness, he fired a very sweary and vitriolic retort at the judge as he was led away from the courtroom.
My own wife was terrified that Andy Obregon was going to come to our house and his big blaze of glory was going to be in the sheriff's yard.
The kind of terror that blanketed Kenosha County and surrounding areas in the fall of 2015. Sheriff David Beth got the call Friday morning. Obregon's public defender filed a guilty plea.
This is about as solid of a case that you could ever put together for a jury.
There were over 100 witnesses scheduled to appear in the next few weeks.
Investigators prepared evidence outlining the murder of Taiwan Anderson, the brutal beating of a woman who spotted Obregon in her house, and armed robberies. 32 charges in all, pled down to 6, including homicide.
Is there a certain kind of closure for the people of Kenosha County as well?
I think this was a case that people have talked to me that they remember for ever since it happened.
And they wanted to know when the trial would start. That doesn't matter anymore.
He confessed to almost all of it. There wasn't a lot of point in actually taking this to a trial.
Sheriff Beth talked about how personal this case was. He knew Obregon, who he referred to as Andy, back in grade school. He tried to keep him out of trouble, but Obregon continued to go a different direction. He now faces life in prison and 150 years on top of that. In Kenosha, Ben Hutchison, WISN 12 News.
You have a conviction out of Racine County for receiving stolen property as party to a crime. You were sentenced to prison. That was stayed. You were placed on probation for 3 years. While you're on probation, you're expected to be on your best behavior. You are far from being on your best behavior. You have another conviction out of Racine County for theft, movable property from 2007. You were placed on probation. That probation was revoked. You have a crime for theft, movable properties, party to a crime out of Walworth County, again from 2007. Again, you were placed on probation. That probation was revoked. You've had some contacts as a juvenile as well. I look at the vicious or aggravated nature of the crime, the degree of your culpability. You are 100% culpable. You did give a statement. That statement did take a long period of time, over a couple, maybe 3 days, and I think you're pretty forthright. You also seem to be boasting to me. You seem to be proud of what you're doing. Maybe law enforcement was egging you on a little bit, but you're responsible for your attitude, and you seem to be quite proud of taking these cars, driving them around, driving them fast, and everything that you did. What you're saying as far as Ms. Schott and delivering one blow to her and her being crazy for attacking you, I don't believe any of that. I think that the facts do not support what you're saying. I agree with Attorney Gravely. This is a once-in-a-generation type of crime spree. I think, given what I observed with your interview, you're quite proud of that. I look at your age, your educational background, your employment record. As I said before, you're 34 years of age. You do have some work history. I'm being told that you were a very good mechanic. I wish you'd put more of your thought, time, money, energy into being a mechanic than you did into the drugs and the crimes. And wanting retaliation and going out and murdering somebody and having absolutely no problem doing that, shooting them in the back of the head from the back of a car. With respect to your educational background, you do have some high school education. I look at your remorse and your cooperativeness. You were extremely cooperative at the time that you gave the interview. I'm not quite sure how remorseful you were. According to the pre-sentence writer, you're not remorseful. Really, today you show little remorse. Through the pre-sentence investigation, you show little remorse. I look at your need for close rehabilitative control, certainly. You have a need for close rehabilitative control. I look at the rights of the public, the right of the people in our community to feel safe for the rest of their lives.
Is the sentence that a Kenosha County judge handed down this morning to the man who eluded police for weeks back in 2015. Andrew Obregon was sentenced, convicted of murder and leading deputies on a multi-state manhunt 2 years ago.
Now, as Obregon was leaving, he was seen in handcuffs right here, making an obscene gesture towards the judge and cursed at him. Now, he was on the run for weeks following the murder of Taiwan Anderson. Along with that murder, his crimes include a gas station robbery, carjacking, and a police chase. Obregon was finally arrested nearly a month later in Illinois.
Classy, Andy. Classy. Obregon subsequently filed a post-conviction motion seeking to withdraw his plea, alleging ineffective assistance of counsel based on his trial counsel's failure to request judicial substitution and faulty advice from his trial counsel regarding his eligibility for extended supervision. All bollocks aside, the circuit court denied the motion, so he was welcome to stay where he was and rot. And thus another cockwomble found his way to jail, even if he did take the scenic route to get there. And all of the shenanigans following the murder, along with the long-standing pressure on the community, meant that all attention was drawn to the manhunt for the nasty bastard. And what was somewhat forgotten was that a man was killed at the outset. While Taiwan Anderson was undoubtedly a flawed individual caught up in a life of crime, this does not mean that he deserved to die. Even if he was a criminal and/or a bit of a dick, he should not have been murdered. And for that reason, I dedicate this episode to him. and I send love to his family and friends dealing with the loss. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. Please hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with all my uploads. I mean, if you want. I'd appreciate it, of course, but you do you. With that said, I'm Steve. This here is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it, you say